free. We need to pay if we want a loaf of bread. We need to pay for petrol. We need to pay for gas and electricity. We need to pay for our mortgage. And the list could go on and on. Everything we want or even need costs something. What about our church and our families? We need to give something in order to receive. We need to give our time and sometimes effort to build our relationships. There is a saying, you don't get something for nothing. It seems like everywhere we look, there is a cost involved. I would like to turn your attention to Luke chapter 9, verses 57 to 62. Luke 9, 57 to 62. And I'll be reading from the Message translation. On the road, someone asked if he could go along. I'll go with you wherever, he said. Jesus was scared. Are you ready to rough it? We're not staying in the best inns, you know. Jesus said to another, follow me. He said, certainly, but first excuse me for a couple of days, please. I have to make arrangements for my father's funeral. Jesus refused. First things first. Your business is life, not death, and life is urgent. Announce God's kingdom. Then another said, I'm ready to follow you, Master, but first excuse me while I get things straightened out at home. Jesus said, no procrastination, no backward looks. You can't put God's kingdom off till tomorrow. Seize the day. Salvation is both absolutely free and yet it costs us everything, our lives. We receive it freely at no expense, but once we do receive it, we have just committed everything we are and have to Jesus. You may ask, how is it possible? Something to be taken for free and yet it costs us at the same time? Let me illustrate. Suppose that your friend offers you a free ride in his airplane. He invites you to come along at his expense. In accepting his offer, I have just committed my life to him. If he flies safely, you are safe. If he crashes, you die. The moment you say yes to his offer, you are totally committed to him and have entrusted your life into his hands. Jesus offers the water of life for free, but the minute we receive his free offer, we are no longer our own. We have been bought with a price. That's why, to truly follow Christ, we must consider the cost and not follow him superficially, only to walk away when things get tough. In Luke 9, 56 to 62, we see three would-be followers of Jesus. Let's first look back to the verse 51 to understand better. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. We know what Jerusalem meant for Jesus. He knew what was waiting for him there. And in verses 52 and 53, Jesus sent messengers ahead of him who went and entered a village of Samaritans to make preparations for him. But the people did not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. This is a signal to us. If you join Jesus on the way to Jerusalem, you may not have a place to stay. You may not be popular, welcomed, and you may be rejected. The point in the phrase follow is that being a disciple of Jesus, being a Christian, is more than just learning about him. It includes following him where he goes, even to Jerusalem. As Luke 14:27 says, whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. When Jesus is saying, follow me, he is saying two things. Follow me, go, there is my mission. And follow me, I will be with you, there is me. There is a person and there is a path. There is sweetness, the love and friendship that person offers, and there is suffering. There is Jesus and there is Jerusalem. He said, go and make me disciples of all nations. And he also said, I will be with you to the end of the age. Now, what was Jesus doing in his responses to the three followers? No place to lay your head, let the dead bury their dead, put your hand on the plow and don't look back. I think he was testing them and also teaching them. He was saying that the Calvary road through Jerusalem won't be easy. It will require sacrifices of home and family. He was testing to see if he himself was the greatest treasure in their lives. They said they will follow. And Jesus is saying, really? Are you sure? Because when you do, it will cost you this much. He wanted to see how much they treasure the you in I will follow you. Two things are happening here. The first is that Jesus is offering himself as our friend and partner in our mission. Just think about it. He is the creator of the universe, the King of kings and the Lord of lords, the one who just says a word and things happen, triumphant over sin and death, the one in whom all the wisdom and knowledge is hid. This Jesus is saying to you, follow me. He is not saying, you go while I stay at Bethlehem, but he is saying, I am going there, follow me. I will be with you, I will never forsake you. And the second thing, he is testing us to see if he is enough, to see if he is really our treasure, our joy, security, our hope, our friend, our home, our father, our mother, our strength. He tells us what it will cost. He is not saying that you will never have a bed, pillow, or roof over your head. He is not saying that it will be wrong to be at your parents' funeral. The point Jesus is making is that he knows our heart. He knows what our idols are. He knows what takes our time. He knows what is competing in our heart with affection for him. He says those things because he wants follow me to be our goal. He wants being with him to be our goal. In verse 58, he raises the issue of our attachment to our homes. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Will you follow him? Are you willing to leave behind your beautiful homes, your new kitchen, your brand new expensive sofa, your smart TV, and follow him? He is asking, am I more satisfying than all of those things? I think the way Juan Carlos Ortiz tells the story of Pearl of Great Price illustrates how much we value Jesus. A man sees this pearl and says to the merchant, I want this pearl, how much is it? The seller says, it's very expensive. How much? A lot. Well, do you think I could buy it? The man asks. Oh yes, says the merchant, everyone can buy it. But I thought you said it was very expensive. I did. Well, how much? Everything you have, says the seller. All right, I'll buy it. Okay, what do you have? Well, I have $10,000 in the bank. Good, $10,000. What else? That's all I have. Nothing more? Well, I have a few dollars more in my pocket. How much? Well, let's see, $100. That's mine too, says the seller. What else do you have? That's all, nothing else. Where do you live? The seller asks. In my house. Yes, I own a home. The seller writes down, house, it's mine. Where do you expect me to sleep? In my camper? Oh, you have a camper, do you? That too. What else? Am I supposed to sleep in my car? Oh, you have a car. Yes, I own 2 of them. They are mine now. Look, you've taken my money, my house, my camper, and my cars. Where is my family going to live? Oh, you have a family. Yes, I have a wife and 3 kids. They are mine now. Suddenly the seller exclaims, oh, I almost forgot. You yourself too. Everything becomes mine. Wife, children, house, money, cars, and you too. Then he goes on. Now listen, I will allow you to use all these things for the time being. But don't forget that they are all mine, just as you are. And whenever I need any of them, you must give them up, because I am now the owner. As Christians, we may find it relatively easy to give up the TV or latest technology, but in verse 60 he raises the questions about our family. Let the people who are dead bury their own dead. You must go and tell about the kingdom of God. Jesus is not here saying you can or shouldn't go to parents' funeral. In this Bible story, it's possible that the man's parents had not yet died. By leaving them, he would lose his inheritance. The question we might need to ask is, who is first, Christ or family? Whom do you cherish more? Do you compromise on your principles for the sake of a quiet life? When my grandparents became Adventists, they faced challenges from their closest family. Their relationship with them suffered and wasn't the same as before. It took many years before they were accepted back. Their faith cost them something, but they knew that following Jesus was more important. The point is that Jesus should be for us the absolute, and all other allegiances are relative. Do you want Christ above all? Do you want to follow him more than anything? In verse 62, he raises the question about fickle following, the danger of indecisive discipleship. Anyone who begins to plow a field but keeps looking back is of no use in the kingdom of God. You can't plow a straight furrow while looking back. You can't serve Christ and make him look great if you are always second-guessing and the value of following him. Looking back means longing back. It means that we are not really sure he is worth following, especially to Jerusalem. We may be keeping our eyes open for something better that may come along. It might sound that he is asking way too much from us. If we are honest, we all know that we don't always put him first above everything else. But if we decide to follow him, then he needs to become the number one in our lives. We then will realize that we need to spend more time in prayer, in reading our Bibles, and in our devotion. But I would like to say he is worthy. He is worth following. To truly follow Christ, we must consider the cost and put him above everything else. Follow me means there is the path and there is the person. There is the suffering and there is the sweetness. There is Jerusalem and there is Jesus. Will you follow him?
Amen.